You are not simply observing reality, you are filtering it, shaping it, projecting it. Like a lens carved from belief, emotion, and memory, your consciousness bends the raw quantum field into the form you call life. Every thought you entertain sends a frequency into the invisible, and every frequency you radiate interferes with the fabric of the field. Your mind is not a passive mirror, it is an active projector. The quantum world doesn't exist as a fixed movie already played out. It exists as a potential, an ocean of possibilities, waiting for the observer to choose a frame. When you focus, when you feel deeply, when you believe fully, you collapse this field into form, not by effort, but by coherence. A scattered, emotionally incoherent mind distorts the signal. A focused, elevated state tunes you into a new timeline. The heart's electromagnetic field radiates far beyond the body. It acts like a carrier wave for your intentions. When your thoughts and heart are in harmony, you amplify the signal, like tuning a projector to perfect clarity. Suddenly, the blur fades. Events align. People show up. Coincidences multiply. Not by luck, but by resonance. The outer begins to reflect the inner blueprint you've encoded. Every moment you spend in fear or doubt, those emotions write distortion into the image. But elevated emotions, gratitude, love, freedom, clear the lens. They polish your inner projector and allow the light of possibility to shine through unimpeded. That's not wishful thinking. It's physics. You are collapsing waveforms into matter with every breath of awareness. You are tuning the universe not just with what you want, but with what you are willing to become. So, if your world keeps replaying the same script, perhaps it's time to change the film inside. Not with force, but with intention. Because the projector never lies, it only reflects. And the most powerful transformation doesn't start with action. It starts with identity. With a new frequency of being. With the decision to embody the version of you that already lives in the reality you desire. This is not just poetic philosophy, it is backed by emerging frontiers in neuroscience, quantum physics, and epigenetics. Studies in neuroplasticity show that the brain is continuously rewiring itself based on repeated thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Every time you rehearse a new internal state, you're physically sculpting new neural pathways. You're not merely thinking differently, you are becoming someone else, neuron by neuron. Research from the HeartMath Institute reveals that the heart generates a magnetic field over 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain. When you enter a state of heart-brain coherence, aligning clear intention, thought, with elevated emotion, feeling, you create a measurable change in your electromagnetic field. This is not subtle. It's visible on an ECG or EEG. And it doesn't just affect you, it interacts with the quantum field around you. Quantum experiments like the double-slit experiment have already shown us that the observer affects the outcome. The presence of consciousness changes how energy behaves. Observation collapses probability into particle. Intention shapes matter. This implies you're not a bystander, you're an agent of collapse, selecting one outcome from the infinite. The field responds to focus, to attention, to expectation. The more coherent your signal, the more reliable the response. Epigenetics further reinforces this idea. Genes, once thought to be immutable, are now known to be highly responsive to internal biochemical environments. And what determines that environment? Emotions, thoughts, stress levels, all elements of consciousness. In other words, who you are being chemically alters the expression of your genes. You're not doomed by your DNA. You are writing the script with your state of being. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, drawing on thousands of EEG brain scans, demonstrates that people who enter deep meditative states can shift their brainwaves into gamma frequencies, a state correlated with heightened perception, healing, and transformation. In these elevated states, subjects often report mystical experiences, a sense of timelessness, deep connection, and spontaneous physical changes. But the EEGs confirm, it's not placebo. It's a measurable shift in brain coherence and energy output. So, when you align your thoughts and emotions, when you consciously enter states of gratitude before there is anything to be grateful for, you are broadcasting a new electromagnetic signature into the field. And that signal begins to pull from the sea of probabilities a new set of outcomes. Not because you forced reality to change, but because you became the version of yourself who already lives there. What science is beginning to confirm is what ancient wisdom has whispered for millennia: reality is not separate from you, it is entangled with you. Your nervous system is not just receiving signals from the world, it is also sending them. Every synaptic fire, every hormonal cascade, every coherent emotional state is a coded message broadcast into the unified field of consciousness. The question is, are you broadcasting a signal of survival, or creation? In the survival state, fear, stress, anxiety, the brain narrows its focus. Cortisol levels rise. The body prepares for threat. In this state, you're chemically conditioned to predict the past. You scan your environment for danger, for sameness, for what could go wrong. And in doing so, you project more of that same past onto the canvas of the quantum field. The projector replays the old film, because the frequency hasn't changed. But in a creative state, elevated emotions like joy, inspiration, love, the brain enters coherence. Alpha and gamma waves rise. The heart's rhythm smooths. The body exits survival and enters regulation, growth, expansion. You become biologically ready to experience a new future. You are no longer bound to the familiar past. In this state, neurochemical signatures match the internal experience of the desired future, and the quantum field responds with synchronicity. This isn't mystical, it's measurable. In Dispenza's advanced workshops, blood samples taken before and after meditation have shown increases in immunoglobulin A, an antibody responsible for boosting immune function, by up to 50%. That's not mind over matter. That's mind influencing matter through emotion, intention, and coherence. Participants who held elevated states of gratitude and love experienced physiological changes without drugs, diet, or exercise, only through internal states of being. MRI studies from neuroscience labs also support these findings. Visualization activates the same neural circuits as physical experience. When you imagine a future with emotional intensity and sensory detail, your brain doesn't know the difference between the imagined and the real. It begins to lay down neural scaffolding for that experience, as if it's already happening. Over time, the body follows. The genes follow. And eventually, the outer world follows. So if your consciousness is the projector, your attention is the light, and your emotions are the lens, then what you focus on, believe in, and feel intensely becomes the image cast onto the screen of your life. Most people wait for reality to change their state. But the quantum model says, change your state, and reality will have no choice but to reflect it. Your body is the unconscious mind. It records every experience, every emotional habit, every thought you rehearse into its cellular memory. Over time, these rehearsals become a program, a predictable, automatic model of the past. 95% of who you are by age 35 is a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, and beliefs that run on autopilot. You may say you want a new life, a new outcome, but if your body is still living in the chemical past, you're projecting the same frequency onto the field, again and again. This is why true change doesn't come from willpower alone. It comes from entering the unknown. From stepping into a new identity before the environment gives you a reason. That's the quantum leap, to feel abundance before wealth, to feel love before the partner, to feel healed before the diagnosis changes. And when you do, when you teach your body emotionally what that future feels like, you create the biological conditions to receive it. The quantum field responds not to your wishes, but to your signature. Not to your dreams, but to your state. And that state is electromagnetic. Your thoughts send the signal out, your emotions draw the event back in. Thought is the directive, emotion is the magnetic charge. Together, they generate the field around you. And this field is what interacts with the invisible matrix of potential that surrounds everything. This is not theory, it's been observed. In experiments involving random event generators, participants in elevated emotional states have measurably influenced machines that should operate by pure chance. In the Global Consciousness Project, coordinated by researchers at Princeton, fluctuations in random number generators around the world have corresponded to moments of collective human emotion, mass meditations, global tragedies, or collective focus. Human consciousness, it seems, affects probability itself. This suggests something radical, that reality is not objective. It's participatory. You are not a puppet pulled by fate, you are a node of consciousness actively selecting reality from a sea of probabilities. And the clearer your internal signal, the more precise the match with the outcomes that reflect it. That's why meditation, breath work, focused attention, they're not just relaxation techniques. They are tools for tuning the instrument. For breaking the loop of survival chemistry and entering the creative zone, where intention meets energy in the absence of time. In that timeless space, the realm beyond the known, you become a new observer. And the moment you do, the projector switches reels. Coherence is not just a feeling, it is a measurable state of harmony between the brain and the heart. When the heart beats in a smooth, ordered rhythm, and the brainwaves follow in synchrony, your entire system enters resonance. This coherent state is like sharpening the focus of your inner projector. Instead of a chaotic, scattered beam, you emit a clean, ordered signal into the quantum field, a signature that the universe can recognize and reflect. Incoherence, by contrast, scrambles your signal. When you're living in stress, frustration, or fear, your brainwaves become erratic. Your heart rhythm turns jagged. The field you generate is dissonant. It's like trying to tune into a specific radio station while broadcasting static. The universe responds, not with clarity, but with mixed signals, delays, distortions. You remain stuck in familiar loops, replaying versions of the past while longing for a different future. But when you enter coherence, even for a few minutes a day, you begin to break free from the gravitational pull of your old timeline. You become energetically compatible with possibilities outside of your conditioning. You're no longer selecting from the shelf of memories, you're stepping into the unknown, where all timelines coexist in potential. And from that field, the improbable becomes inevitable, if your signal holds. This is where energy comes in. Energy is information. And every emotional state carries a frequency, a unique pattern of information encoded in light, magnetism, and vibration. Lower emotions like guilt, shame, or resentment carry slow, dense frequencies. They keep your projector tethered to the past, replaying known outcomes. Elevated emotions, like inspiration, compassion, awe, carry faster, more ordered frequencies. They expand your access to timelines that your old self could never reach. That's why transformation requires energy. To break free from the pull of your conditioned identity, you must summon more energy than your environment, more energy than your habits, more energy than your past. And that energy is cultivated internally. Through focus. Through stillness. Through entering the present moment so deeply that time dissolves, and with it, the boundaries of who you've been. At that point, the quantum field becomes responsive. You are no longer merely reacting to life, you are orchestrating it. You've moved from Newtonian cause and effect into quantum cause by intention. The effect doesn't follow the cause in time, it appears instantaneously in the field of possibilities, collapsing around your new signature. The reality you perceive is no longer chained to what was, it begins to echo who you have become. Because in the end, you are not chasing the future. You are remembering it. It already exists as a pattern in the field, waiting for you to tune into its frequency and embody its signal. You don't need to make it happen, you need to become the version of yourself for whom it's already true. Every possibility already exists. Every version of you, the healed one, the awakened one, the abundant one, lives now in the quantum field, encoded as a vibrational pattern. Time, as we experience it, is a construct of the brain. To the field, there is only now. All futures exist simultaneously, and consciousness is the navigator. You do not move through time, time rearranges itself around your frequency. This is the essence of quantum entanglement, not just between particles, but between selves. The version of you living your desired life is already entangled with the you reading these words. But until you match its frequency, the connection remains dormant. You may glimpse it in dreams, in moments of inspiration, in flashes of déjà vu, but to make it real, you must become coherent with it. The signal must be felt, not just known. How? Through repetition. Through embodiment. Through emotionally rehearsing the inner experience of the future as if it were present now. When you do this, neurons fire in new patterns. Genes switch on. The heart sends messages to the brain. The energy field around your body reorganizes. And the projector begins to flicker with new light. You're no longer broadcasting the vibration of who you've been. You're transmitting the signature of who you're becoming. And this new signal bends probability. It alters the space around you, like a magnet reshaping iron filings. The right people arrive. The opportunity appears. Not by chance, but because you've become the version of you who exists on the same timeline as that outcome. The mirror of reality has no choice but to reflect it. In advanced states of coherence, as reported in thousands of documented cases, individuals have experienced spontaneous remissions, creative breakthroughs, and inexplicable synchronicities. Why? Because they stepped out of linear causality and into quantum causation. They stopped trying to predict and started to feel. They stopped reacting to matter and began influencing the field. And the field is alive. It is intelligent. It responds to authenticity. You cannot deceive it with empty affirmations. It responds only to the vibration of truth. And truth, in this context, means alignment between thought, emotion, and identity. When who you think you are, how you feel, and how you act become one, you enter resonance with the field, and the world begins to organize itself around you. This is not mysticism. This is emergent science. This is applied consciousness. Then let us continue, into the observer, into choice, into the architecture of identity itself. You are not the program. You are not the emotion. You are not even the thought. You are the awareness behind it all, the silent observer, the field of infinite choice that watches the mind move, the body react, the heart ache or soar. And this observer is your access point to the quantum field. It is the place of stillness before form, of pure potential before structure. The deeper you rest in it, the more clearly you see, you are not in the world is in you. From the quantum perspective, every observation is a creative act. The observer does not merely perceive reality, it finalizes it. Before observation, a particle exists only as a probability wave, a smear of potential. After observation, the wave collapses into one outcome. And this collapse is not random, it follows the observer's expectation, attention, and emotional signature. That is, your internal state, your belief, your emotion, your focus, directs the collapse of the quantum wave into form. So what are you observing today? Are you waking up and seeing the same job, the same problems, the same limits, and unconsciously reaffirming their existence? Then you are collapsing the wave of potential into the same past reality. You're using your mind like a photocopier, reprinting yesterday. But when you wake up and begin to observe a new possibility, when you hold it in your mind, feel it in your heart, embody it in your being, you collapse a new wave. And reality reorganizes itself accordingly. This is the architecture of identity. Your sense of self is not fixed, it is a fluid construct built of memory, emotion, language, and projection. And every time you think and feel in a new way, you are literally reconstructing the scaffolding of who you believe yourself to be. You can rewire your story. You can rebuild your projection room. You can swap the old reel for a new one. The projector never asks why, it simply plays what it's been given. But the key, the true alchemy, is to choose ahead of evidence. To become the new self before the world reflects it. That is where all transformation lives, in the gap between who you were and who you're becoming. In that uncertain space, you meet yourself not as a product of the past, but as a creator of futures. You stop living by cause and begin living by intention. And when you become so familiar with the new self, when you think the thoughts, feel the emotions, and act in alignment consistently, there comes a moment where the past no longer has a gravitational pull. It fades. The old circuitry withers from lack of attention. And the new you becomes not a performance, but a state of being. Then the field responds. Then the timeline shifts. Then the mirror brightens with clarity. Not because the world changed first, but because you did. Quantum physics shattered classical ideas of separateness and predictability nearly a century ago, yet only now are we beginning to truly grasp the radical implications of these discoveries. The quantum model doesn't just inform us that the observer influences the observed, it reveals something more profound. There is no separation between observer and observed. Both exist in a dynamic interplay of potentiality and actuality, consciousness and matter, intention and manifestation. At the quantum scale, reality is composed not of solid particles, but of fields of energy vibrating at varying frequencies. These fields do not have defined states until observed or measured. This means the observer's consciousness, your consciousness, is intricately interwoven with the reality you experience. The observer effect isn't merely an odd quirk of physics, it fundamentally reshapes our understanding of ourselves as active participants in shaping our own reality. This is critical, because your daily experience, what you see, feel, and believe, defines your biology, your neurology, your chemistry, and ultimately, your destiny. You might think of your consciousness as a finely tuned quantum projector, emitting frequencies shaped by your inner states. Your thoughts direct this frequency, your emotions amplify it, and your sustained intentions stabilize it. Collectively, these form the lens through which reality emerges from the quantum field. Modern neuroscience confirms these insights. A concept called Hebbian plasticity states that neurons that fire together, wire together. Every thought, emotion, or behavior pattern repeated consistently creates stronger neural connections. Over time, these connections build neural networks that represent your automatic habits, emotional tendencies, and subconscious programs. Your mind becomes a holographic representation of your repeated internal experiences. And since the brain cannot distinguish vividly imagined experiences from external reality, the way you consistently think and feel internally literally becomes your external reality. Consider a series of groundbreaking studies led by neuroscientists such as Dr. Sarah Lazar at Harvard, who found that regular meditation physically alters the brain's structure, increasing cortical thickness in areas associated with attention, emotional integration, and compassion, while reducing activity in regions linked to fear and stress, such as the amygdala. Meditation isn't simply relaxation, it's deliberate practice in entering coherent states that literally sculpt the physical architecture of your nervous system. But it goes further, this coherent state isn't confined to your physical body alone. The HeartMath Institute studies document how emotional states, particularly gratitude, love, appreciation, and compassion, dramatically enhance coherence in the heart's electromagnetic field. Because the heart's magnetic field radiates several feet beyond your physical body, its coherence influences your immediate environment. This field interacts with the quantum fabric of reality, encoding your emotional state as informational patterns into the invisible field that connects everything. Indeed, advanced experiments at institutions like Princeton's Engineering Anomalies Research (PAIR) lab demonstrated consistently that human intention and emotional coherence could measurably alter random number generators, machines intended to be impervious to outside influence. Groups of people holding focused intention in emotionally coherent states literally changed probabilities and influenced physical reality at a quantum level. These results indicate that consciousness is not limited by physical constraints, it reaches into and reshapes the quantum realm. Epigenetic research, pioneered by scientists like Bruce Lipton, expands these implications even further. Lipton's work demonstrates that genes are not static blueprints, rather, they are dynamic expressions responsive to environmental cues, primarily influenced by your perceptions and emotions. Your thoughts and emotional states trigger biochemical cascades that activate or silence genes. In other words, you are not a victim of your genetic inheritance. Your consciousness continuously influences gene expression, cellular health, and overall biology. Dr. Joe Dispenza has integrated these scientific streams into transformative workshops, collecting extensive biometric data from thousands of participants. EEG measurements show consistent shifts from ordinary beta wave states, typical waking consciousness associated with stress and external focus, to deep alpha, theta, and gamma states, brainwave patterns linked to heightened creativity, intuition, healing, and expanded states of awareness. Blood samples before and after advanced meditation sessions have documented significant increases in immune markers and reductions in stress hormones, directly correlated with these altered states of consciousness. Participants in Dispenza's studies have experienced profound physical and psychological healings, not through external interventions, but purely through internal shifts in consciousness, emotion, and intention. Chronic illnesses, severe emotional traumas, and lifelong limiting patterns have been resolved through sustained coherence and conscious intention. These documented transformations provide compelling evidence that when you change your inner state consistently, your physical body and external life follow suit. Quantum entanglement provides yet another profound layer to this narrative. At the quantum level, particles become interconnected such that changes to one instantly affect the other, regardless of distance. This principle suggests a radical interconnectedness at the core of existence. Applying this concept metaphorically, and energetically, to personal transformation, the idealized future you desire is entangled with your present consciousness. It exists now, not in some distant temporal location, but in parallel to your current experience, resonating at a different frequency. To shift realities, you need only shift frequencies. But frequency change isn't superficial, it demands a genuine shift in consciousness and identity. Authentic transformation isn't merely about superficial positive thinking or momentary affirmations. It involves deeply embodying and emotionally rehearsing your future state of being until your nervous system, biochemistry, and energy fields align completely with that new identity. This coherence, this alignment, this authentic transformation activates quantum entanglement, drawing the new reality into manifestation. As your coherent electromagnetic signal gains strength, your field interacts dynamically with the quantum realm, pulling synchronicities, serendipities, and opportunities toward you. The universe responds to coherence, not by chance, but by energetic resonance. Your life ceases to be dictated by reactive patterns from past experiences and becomes actively orchestrated by your consciousness. Ultimately, the most profound insight from quantum science and modern neuroscience is the dissolution of perceived boundaries between consciousness and reality, inner and outer worlds, mind and matter. You do not merely exist within the universe, you exist as the universe, constantly creating and recreating your reality through the lens of consciousness. The outer world is not separate, it is an externalization of your internal states. This places extraordinary creative power, and responsibility, squarely within you. Reality emerges through your perceptions, beliefs, emotions, and energetic states. You become a conscious participant in an ever-unfolding quantum field of infinite possibilities, dynamically shifting probabilities based on your coherent internal state. When you grasp this truth deeply, you cease to wait for external conditions to change. You realize that the only place real change occurs is in consciousness itself, in the depths of your own being, in the clear, focused coherence of your mind and heart, in the intentional choices you make moment by moment. This quantum understanding redefines the fundamental nature of human experience and purpose. You are not here to passively experience life, but to consciously create it. The projector is your consciousness, the lens is your emotional coherence, the light is your sustained intention, and reality is the vivid projection of your internal state onto the quantum field around you. When you truly embrace the quantum view of reality, the rigid boundaries you perceive between yourself and the world begin to dissolve. In classical physics, objects and observers seem distinct, separated by space and time. But quantum theory reveals an underlying unity, an interconnectedness that defies these boundaries. At this fundamental level, everything, matter, energy, and consciousness, is woven into a seamless whole. Your perceived separateness is merely an artifact of sensory perception and neurological filtering, not ultimate reality. Consider your brain and nervous system as filters of information. Every second, you're bombarded by billions of bits of sensory input: sight, sound, touch, vibration, electromagnetic signals. Yet, your conscious awareness can process only a fraction of this vast information flow. How does your brain choose what reaches consciousness? It filters according to your deeply ingrained beliefs, emotional patterns, and subconscious expectations. Your internal programming literally shapes the reality you perceive. Studies in cognitive neuroscience have shown repeatedly that expectation shapes perception. For instance, placebo studies demonstrate that patients experiencing placebo treatments, even when fully aware that the treatment lacks medical efficacy, can still experience real physical improvements. Why? Because the patient's belief and emotional investment trigger biochemical changes in the body that match their expectation. In short, your reality does not exist independent of your expectation. Your expectation actively co-creates your reality at the biological, neurological, and quantum levels. Quantum biology is beginning to explore these phenomena further. Emerging research has demonstrated quantum coherence effects within biological systems, such as photosynthesis in plants and quantum tunneling in enzymes, suggesting life itself operates at a quantum level. If quantum coherence can occur in plants and proteins, could it not also occur in the human brain and nervous system? Recent hypotheses and theoretical frameworks are exploring how neurons, synapses, and microtubules within the brain could exhibit quantum coherence, creating a biological quantum field. Neuroscientists like Stuart Hameroff and physicists like Sir Roger Penrose propose theories such as orchestrated objective reduction, orchestra, suggesting that consciousness itself emerges from quantum processes occurring within brain microstructures. These ideas propose a radical reimagining of consciousness, not as a product of classical neural computation, but as a quantum phenomenon, operating in coherence with the larger quantum field. If consciousness itself operates at the quantum level, then your inner states, thoughts, emotions, intentions, are directly connected to quantum possibilities at the deepest level of existence. Your identity, therefore, is not merely psychological or biochemical, it is quantum mechanical. Every thought you produce, every emotion you cultivate, every intention you sustain sends subtle signals into the quantum field, encoding your internal state into the fabric of possibility. Your consistent emotional and cognitive states literally form quantum coherence patterns that resonate with specific realities. As you maintain coherence in your internal states, reality aligns around you, shifting into resonance with your quantum signature. Now consider this deeply. From the quantum perspective, your past and future do not exist independently, fixed in linear time. Instead, every moment is a continuously unfolding probability. Timelines branch endlessly in the quantum field, offering infinite pathways. Your consciousness, as the observer, selects and collapses these possibilities moment by moment, not randomly, but according to your internal coherence. Thus, your consistent emotional and energetic states literally guide your path through an infinite set of potential timelines, selecting the realities you experience. This insight reframes your concept of free will profoundly. Free will isn't merely your capacity to make conscious choices in daily life. At a quantum level, free will is your consciousness selecting which timeline to inhabit from an infinite field of potentials. Every moment, consciously or unconsciously, you are choosing your reality based on your internal state. This is not philosophical speculation, it emerges naturally from quantum mechanics principles. Imagine your internal state as a quantum antenna, tuned through your focus, emotions, and coherent intention. When your antenna is coherent, aligned thoughts, emotions, and actions, your signal gains clarity and strength, resonating strongly with matching quantum potentials. Conversely, a chaotic, incoherent internal state yields weak, scattered signals, resonating only with familiar patterns and past experiences. The quantum field responds faithfully, delivering back the realities that match your vibrational coherence. What does this mean practically? It means genuine transformation requires more than superficial behavioral changes or positive thinking alone. True quantum transformation involves profound internal coherence, aligning your identity, emotions, beliefs, and intentions at the deepest level of being. It involves repeatedly entering elevated emotional states, gratitude, compassion, inspiration, and awe, to stabilize and amplify your quantum signature. This isn't merely manifesting, it is consciously becoming the person who effortlessly experiences your desired reality. Moreover, consciousness research shows another profound insight: peak experiences, moments of intense joy, mystical awareness, or deep meditation, correlate with extraordinary neurological and physiological coherence. EEG readings during such experiences often reveal coherent gamma wave oscillations spanning large brain areas. Gamma coherence is linked to deep insights, creativity, healing, and profound transformative experiences. These heightened states seem to create temporary windows of quantum coherence, bridging your present state with radically new potentials. Dr. Joe Dispenza's extensive EEG research confirms that during advanced meditation practices, participants enter gamma coherence, correlating with profound shifts in health, emotional well-being, and personal reality. These experiences consistently lead individuals toward transformative breakthroughs, healings, awakenings, new opportunities, because participants become coherent quantum observers who resonate strongly with novel timelines. As you deepen coherence through practice, meditation, visualization, heart-brain harmony, your sustained quantum coherence redefines your entire experience of reality. Opportunities, synchronicities, and inspirations flow naturally toward you. Old barriers dissolve. Chronic conditions shift spontaneously. This occurs not because you struggle or push against reality, but precisely because you stop pushing. In deep coherence, resistance dissolves, reality aligns naturally with your harmonious quantum signature. Thus, quantum physics and neuroscience converge to illuminate your role not as a passive observer, but as an active co-creator. You are no longer simply a product of external conditions or past experiences. Instead, you become a quantum architect, consciously selecting from infinite probabilities through your coherent state. Your emotional coherence is the projector lens, your sustained intention is the laser beam, and reality is your vibrant projection onto the screen of existence. To harness this quantum potential, you must become comfortable in the unknown, beyond the familiar, beyond predictable outcomes. The unknown is where quantum possibility lives. When you step into the unknown with coherent intention and elevated emotion, you signal to the quantum field that you're ready for new realities. You activate quantum entanglement with your desired future, pulling that potential into manifestation, not through struggle or force, but through resonance and coherence. The greatest quantum secret is this: you don't manifest what you desire, you manifest what you embody. Your consistent emotional, mental, and energetic states literally sculpt your reality from the quantum fabric. When your internal state becomes coherent with your future vision, that future becomes inevitable. Would you like me to continue even further into these scientific and metaphysical insights, or transition toward a closing reflection? Let us journey even further into the depths of quantum consciousness, exploring how sustained coherence reshapes reality, influences the fabric of existence, and unlocks profound personal transformation. Quantum mechanics reveals a startling and liberating truth: reality at its deepest level isn't solid or predetermined, it's vibrational, energetic, and probabilistic. Beneath what appears solid and fixed, reality is composed entirely of fields of energy and information, interacting, resonating, and responding constantly to conscious observation. Your physical senses perceive solidity, separation, and fixed objects, but at the quantum scale, reality exists as shifting waves of potentiality waiting for coherent observation to collapse into form. This is why your consciousness matters profoundly, not just metaphorically, but physically, scientifically, and energetically. Your mind and emotions are not separate from the quantum field, they are integral aspects of it. Every thought you think, every emotion you experience, sends subtle quantum signals into the field, shaping probabilities. Sustained emotional coherence amplifies these signals exponentially, increasing your influence over quantum potentials and their manifestation. One of the most remarkable principles underlying this process is quantum resonance. In quantum physics, resonance occurs when two systems vibrate at matching frequencies, transferring energy and information effortlessly between them. Emotional coherence creates powerful resonance, linking your consciousness to matching possibilities. When you consciously enter elevated emotional states, gratitude, joy, awe, inspiration, you tune your quantum antenna to the frequency of ideal outcomes. These elevated emotions literally carry frequencies that resonate strongly with abundant, creative, healing, and fulfilling realities. Neuroscience has extensively studied how sustained emotional coherence reshapes brain structure and function. Repeatedly entering coherent emotional states, through meditation, mindfulness, or emotional rehearsal, strengthens neural connections in brain regions associated with well-being, creativity, intuition, and higher-order thinking. For instance, MRI studies from meditation practitioners reveal increased gray matter density in regions related to empathy, self-awareness, executive control, and emotional regulation. Simultaneously, coherent emotional states reduce activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, thereby decreasing anxiety, stress, and reactivity. Thus, your conscious effort to maintain coherence is physically restructuring your brain, creating new neural pathways that embody your desired states of being. Over time, these coherent emotional states become habitual, automatic, and effortless. What initially requires deliberate practice eventually becomes your natural baseline state. Your biology, neurology, and psychology literally become tuned to a new frequency of existence, one that aligns harmoniously with the quantum field of potential. Moreover, research by the HeartMath Institute confirms that sustained emotional coherence profoundly impacts your physiology beyond the brain. Heart coherence, a rhythmic, harmonious heart rate variability pattern generated during positive emotions, activates beneficial biochemical cascades. Elevated emotional states release neurotransmitters and hormones like serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, all associated with emotional health, physical vitality, and mental clarity. Simultaneously, coherent emotional states reduce inflammatory markers, stress hormones like cortisol, and harmful physiological responses. Thus, your sustained emotional coherence isn't merely psychological, it physically transforms your body's biochemical landscape, promoting health, resilience, and longevity. Quantum coherence, emotional coherence, neurological coherence, and physiological coherence intertwine into a unified field of profound holistic well-being. The result is an optimized biological and energetic system uniquely equipped to manifest powerful, transformative outcomes from the quantum field. Quantum entanglement adds another fascinating dimension to this process. Entanglement demonstrates that particles, once interconnected, remain linked instantly and permanently, regardless of physical distance. Applied metaphorically, and perhaps literally, to consciousness, this means you are inherently interconnected with potential versions of yourself already living desired realities. These ideal future selves exist now, resonating at frequencies matching their realities. When you achieve internal coherence, you activate quantum entanglement with these future versions of yourself, rapidly accelerating manifestation. This understanding provides powerful practical insight. Your desired future isn't separate from you in space or time, it's energetically entangled with you. By consistently embodying the frequency of your ideal future state, you actively draw that future toward you through quantum entanglement. This principle explains profound synchronicities, inexplicable healings, sudden breakthroughs, and spontaneous transformations that occur when individuals achieve sustained coherence. Their coherence entangles their present self with the quantum potential of their desired future, collapsing reality into alignment. Dr. Joe Dispenza's clinical studies provide compelling real-world confirmation of these quantum insights. In extensive research conducted at advanced meditation workshops, participants routinely report profound healings from chronic diseases, emotional traumas, autoimmune conditions, and even terminal diagnoses. EEG data collected simultaneously reveal participants consistently achieving gamma brainwave coherence, the neurological signature correlated with peak insight, creativity, and quantum coherence. Blood samples collected pre- and post-meditation consistently show significantly improved biological markers, boosted immunity, reduced stress hormones, enhanced cellular health. These transformations aren't mysterious miracles, they are quantum phenomena triggered by sustained coherence and entanglement with new realities. Epigenetic research reinforces this quantum narrative even further. Epigenetics reveals your genes are not fixed blueprints but dynamic expressions continuously influenced by your environment, thoughts, emotions, and intentions. Every coherent emotional state produces biochemical signals that activate beneficial gene expression, strengthening immunity, improving cellular regeneration, reducing inflammation, promoting health and longevity. Conversely, chronic stress, negative emotions, and incoherence trigger biochemical cascades that activate genes linked to disease, degeneration, and accelerated aging. Thus, your sustained coherence is literally reprogramming your genetics, cellular health, and overall physiology. At the collective level, the implications become even more profound. Quantum coherence isn't limited to individual transformations, it extends to collective consciousness. Global meditation studies have repeatedly demonstrated that collective emotional coherence, groups focused on peace, compassion, gratitude, correlates with measurable reductions in crime, violence, and conflict within entire communities. These phenomena, documented in research like the Maharishi effect, reveal that individual coherence, amplified collectively, can measurably impact global reality. Thus, your personal coherence has profound global significance, resonating outward, influencing collective consciousness, and contributing positively to the quantum field. Your personal coherence, then, is profoundly meaningful, far beyond your individual reality. By cultivating sustained coherence, you positively influence the quantum field, contributing to global transformation. Your individual transformation amplifies collective coherence, creating exponential impacts on reality. This deep interconnection means your coherence matters profoundly, not only to your personal health, happiness, and fulfillment, but also to global coherence, peace, and human potential. The quantum model fundamentally reshapes your understanding of personal responsibility, creative power, and transformative potential. You are not separate from the universe, you are the universe itself, consciously experiencing and co-creating reality. Your sustained coherence isn't mere self-improvement, it's quantum alchemy, literally transforming your internal state, physical biology, external reality, and collective consciousness. The boundaries dissolve, identity expands, possibility multiplies exponentially. You stand at the threshold of infinite quantum potential. Your consciousness, emotional coherence, and sustained intention are the keys unlocking that potential. Reality becomes a vibrant projection of your coherent internal state, mirroring your deepest beliefs, sustained emotional states, and clear intentions. Life shifts from struggle to synchronicity, from scarcity to abundance, from illness to vitality, not because external conditions changed, but because your internal quantum coherence reshaped the quantum field itself. Quantum theory introduces us to the reality of superposition, the astonishing phenomenon that a particle can exist simultaneously in multiple states until measured or observed. At the level of your consciousness, this implies something astonishingly powerful. Every possible version of your life already exists simultaneously in quantum superposition. Your ideal future, your healthiest self, your most creative, abundant, joyful existence, all these realities exist right now, layered simultaneously within the quantum field of infinite possibilities. They exist as potential states, waiting for conscious coherence, your focused, sustained, intentional observation, to collapse them into actuality. This is not merely abstract theory. Extensive neuroscientific and quantum research increasingly suggests your brain and nervous system operate quantum mechanically, tapping into quantum processes to facilitate consciousness. Quantum coherence, a synchronized, harmonious vibrational state, is theorized to underlie consciousness itself, according to researchers such as Stuart Hameroff, Roger Penrose, and Henry Stapp. Their groundbreaking theories propose that your consciousness is not simply neurological computation, but quantum coherence manifested biologically. When you achieve sustained coherence, such as deep meditation, focused intention, or elevated emotional states, you amplify quantum coherence within your brain and nervous system. In these states, your consciousness operates beyond classical linear constraints of space, time, and causality. This allows you to interact directly with quantum potentials and possibilities. Your coherent state literally collapses waves of possibility into tangible experiences. Recent research into consciousness and quantum physics has deepened this understanding. Physicists now theorize consciousness itself as fundamental, not emerging from matter, but preceding it. Consciousness, according to these radical interpretations, is the foundational fabric from which matter, energy, space, and time emerge. If true, your consciousness is not confined within your brain or body, it is intrinsically part of a universal quantum fabric, extending infinitely throughout the quantum field. You, in essence, are consciousness localized momentarily as a human being, but inherently infinite, timeless, and quantum. From this expansive view, you possess unlimited creative capacity. You're not bound by genetics, past conditioning, or external circumstances. Instead, you're a quantum observer actively shaping reality through coherent observation and emotional intention. This isn't merely wishful or magical thinking. Quantum mechanics consistently demonstrates observer consciousness directly affects physical reality, influencing how energy manifests as matter. Practically speaking, your coherent consciousness and sustained intention influence your physical reality profoundly. Quantum healing cases documented globally, spontaneous remissions, rapid healing of chronic diseases, instantaneous emotional transformations, occur precisely because coherent consciousness collapses previously improbable quantum potentials into observable outcomes. Participants in advanced meditation studies, such as those by Dr. Joe Dispenza, repeatedly report healings and breakthroughs precisely because their sustained coherence activated quantum potentials, transforming their biology, neurology, and external reality simultaneously. Moreover, quantum entanglement reveals an even deeper layer of interconnectedness between your consciousness and the fabric of reality. Quantum entanglement experiments consistently demonstrate instantaneous connection and communication between entangled particles across any distance, suggesting fundamental interconnectedness beneath perceived separation. Applied metaphorically, and quite possibly literally, to your consciousness, quantum entanglement suggests profound interconnectedness between your current self and potential future selves already existing as quantum potentials. Your coherent states strengthen quantum entanglement, pulling those desired potentials into reality. Quantum experiments further demonstrate retrocausality, the possibility that future events influence past states, defying classical notions of linear causality. While seemingly paradoxical, quantum retrocausality has been experimentally demonstrated repeatedly. At your consciousness level, retrocausality implies your coherent intentions and future potentials may directly influence your present reality. This suggests you're not merely shaping your future from the present, you're simultaneously reshaping your present from the vantage point of your coherent future. Your envisioned future state literally exerts quantum influence on your present self, aligning your reality toward that potential. Epigenetics provides additional evidence supporting these quantum phenomena. Epigenetic studies demonstrate your genes actively respond to sustained emotional states and perceptions, not simply physical environment. Your coherent states and emotional intentions literally reshape genetic expression and cellular health, promoting healing, vitality, and transformation at the deepest biological levels. Thus, quantum consciousness, coherence, entanglement, and retrocausality profoundly reshape your biology, neurology, and external reality simultaneously. Furthermore, collective coherence experiments indicate your coherent emotional states powerfully influence global consciousness and external conditions. Mass meditations and coherence practices correlate repeatedly with measurable reductions in violence, conflict, and crime, as documented in peer-reviewed research, such as the Maharishi effect. This strongly suggests coherent individual consciousness significantly impacts global quantum coherence, reshaping collective reality. Your coherent consciousness matters profoundly, not only personally, but globally. At the deepest quantum level, the boundaries of individual identity dissolve entirely. Quantum field theory describes reality as an interconnected web of fields interacting vibrationally, with particles emerging from these fields as localized vibrations. You're not fundamentally separate from others or the universe itself, rather, you're a vibrational node within infinite quantum fields. Your coherence literally harmonizes with this universal field, creating resonance that manifests tangible, observable outcomes. To consistently access this quantum potential, advanced meditative practices and emotional coherence methods become profoundly transformative. Practices that generate sustained gamma brainwave coherence, deep meditation, emotional resonance, heart coherence exercises, create neurological, physiological, and quantum coherence that profoundly reshapes your identity, biology, and external reality. These practices aren't simply relaxation methods, they're powerful quantum technologies activating transformation at the deepest energetic levels. In these deep coherent states, extraordinary quantum phenomena emerge naturally: spontaneous healings, intuitive insights, profound creativity, and seemingly miraculous synchronicities. These experiences result from coherent consciousness accessing quantum potentials otherwise inaccessible. Your internal coherence literally opens quantum gateways to new potentials, manifesting new realities previously unimaginable or impossible from your past conditioning. Ultimately, quantum mechanics and consciousness research converge into an awe-inspiring, liberating vision of human potential. You exist as infinite quantum consciousness embodied temporarily as a human observer. Your internal states, emotional coherence, sustained intention, conscious observation, directly shape quantum potentials into manifest reality. You're not separate from the universe, you're intimately woven into its quantum fabric, actively co-creating reality through coherence and resonance. The practical implications are profound. Your coherence matters immensely, personally, biologically, globally. When you cultivate sustained coherence, you activate quantum potentials aligned with your highest aspirations: health, creativity, abundance, joy, purpose. Life ceases to be mere reaction; instead, it becomes active creation, intentional, conscious, transformative. You no longer merely perceive the world, you consciously collapse quantum potentials into observable outcomes aligned with coherent states of being. Your consciousness becomes the quantum projector, your coherent emotions the lens, your sustained intentions the powerful laser beam shaping reality. Ultimately, the quantum journey leads you to an empowering, transformative realization: you are the quantum architect of your own reality. You've glimpsed the profound truth that consciousness isn't simply observing reality, it's actively shaping it. You understand now that your internal states, thoughts, emotions, intentions, generate powerful coherence, serving as the lens through which you project your reality onto the quantum field. This lens isn't passive, it's dynamic, constantly responding to your choices, your sustained intentions, your coherence. Every moment becomes an opportunity to consciously choose your frequency. Every thought is an invitation to align your emotions and beliefs with the future you desire to embody. The science is clear: sustained coherence profoundly transforms your biology, reshapes your neurology, activates beneficial genetic expression, and dynamically interacts with quantum potentials. The external reality mirrors your internal coherence faithfully, delivering experiences resonant with your quantum signature. Embracing this quantum paradigm means embracing full responsibility for your experience. It means releasing old patterns, outdated identities, and limiting beliefs that no longer serve you. It means consciously stepping into the unknown, not with fear or hesitation, but with excitement, curiosity, and gratitude. The unknown is no longer frightening, it is your ally, a limitless quantum field of potential waiting for your coherent intention. As you deepen your practice, regular meditation, conscious emotional alignment, sustained intention, you cultivate profound coherence that resonates across every dimension of your existence. The extraordinary becomes ordinary. Synchronicities multiply. Spontaneous healings emerge. Creative breakthroughs flourish. Life transitions effortlessly from struggle to flow, scarcity to abundance, separation to connection, not because external conditions changed first, but precisely because your internal quantum coherence shifted reality itself. You become the living embodiment of quantum possibility. Remember always, you are not merely in the universe is within you, unfolding from your coherent consciousness. Your state of being shapes the quantum field continuously. You've discovered the ultimate secret of quantum creation: embody your desired future now, and reality has no choice but to follow. The projector is yours. The lens is clear. The choice is entirely yours.